previous class, okay, in the previous class, we had discussed how to write out the symbol of an element, okay.
So you have done
So
cathode experiment.
okay, we did that, and after the last topic was, I think, yeah, isotopes and isobars, I
Yes,
think.
sir.
Okay, so we'll carry forward that particular topic right now, okay. So we know what are isotopes, okay, and what are isobars. What were supposed to be isobars? What are isobars? Okay, so isotopes, we know they are atoms of the same element which has the same atomic number, right? Okay, but isobars, remember, they are atoms of different elements. They are atoms of different elements, okay, which has the same mass number but different atomic number. Okay, so remember, isobars, they are supposed to be atoms. They are supposed to be atoms of not same element but atoms of different element. Atoms of different element, okay, atoms of different element having same mass number, having same mass number but
Different atomic number.
different atomic number, but different atomic number. And remember, okay, different elements, they always have different atomic number, right? An element, okay, is known by its atomic number. So for example, if I say atomic number 6, I mean I'm talking about carbon. If I say atomic number 7, then I'm talking about nitrogen. If I say atomic number 8, then yes, I'm talking about oxygen. So an element is characterized by a atomic number. Okay, so isobars, yes, they are atoms of different elements. Why they are atoms of different elements? Why? Because they have the same mass number but they have different atomic number. So since they have different atomic number, obviously they are different elements. Okay, so can you give some few examples of isobars? Let us see. Say argon 40, 18, calcium 40, 20. Okay, so let us see these two elements. So here I have written down the atomic symbol of argon and here calcium. Okay, so yes, they are atoms of different element. One is your argon, the other is calcium. They have same mass number. They have the same mass number, but they have different atomic number. So these are known as your isobars. These are isobars. Now, just can you tell me how many electrons are there in an atom of argon? How many electrons are there, by the way? How many electrons are there? 18. The number of
18,
electron is equal to the atomic number. What is the number of electron out here?
20,
20. What is the number of neutrons out here? Number of neutrons. How did we calculate? Number of neutrons?
40
Mass
minus 18,
number minus atomic number. Very good. Okay, number of neutrons 40
40
minus
minus
20.
20.
Okay, now I'll give you two examples. So nitrogen 14, 7. Okay, carbon 13, 6. Carbon 13, 6. Okay, so I give you this. So this is an isotope of carbon. Okay, normally the atomic mass of carbon is 12. Here I have written carbon 13. It's an isotope of carbon 13. Okay. So what is common between these two elements? Neither the atomic number is common. They are not isotopes, nor the mass number is same. They are not isobars as well. But if I calculate the number of neutrons out here, if I calculate the number of neutrons for these two elements, what will be the number of
Both
neutrons
are
for nitrogen
7,
14? Both are
7,
equal to
7.
7. So what are these kind of elements known as, which has the same number of neutrons? They are known as
Isomers.
isoters. They are known as not isomers, they are known as isoters. Right? They are known as isoters. Okay, so another term. So we have isotopes, we have isobars, we have isoters. So what are isoters? Isoters are atoms of different element which has the same number of neutrons, which have the same number of neutrons. Okay, these are known as your isoters. Okay, so this is for your additional information. although it has not been discussed in your NCERT. Okay. Now see. Let me present you some few elements. Okay, let me present a few elements. Say I'll start with your sodium. Say sodium ion. I'll start with sodium ion. So I'll start with your magnesium dipositive. Fine. Aluminium tripositive ion. Okay, so here I'm going to write down the atomic number. I'm going to write down atomic number out here. Okay, what is the atomic number of sodium, by the way? The atomic number
11.
of sodium is
11.
11. Magnesium, it's
Right. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen,
12.
oxygen, protein, neon.
Okay, they belong to the same period. What about aluminium? It's 13. It's 13. Okay. Now next, I'll write down nitrogen out here. What is the atomic number of nitrogen? It's 7. Okay, then I'll write down oxygen out here. What is the atomic number of oxygen? 8.
8.
Okay. Then I'll write down fluorine. What is the atomic number of fluorine? 9. So I'll
9.
write down nitrogen trinegative, oxygen dinegative, fluorine uninegative, like this. Okay, so these are the atomic number. These are the atomic number. Okay, these are the atomic number. Now what you do is now you give me the number of protons. You calculate the number of protons. You calculate the number of protons. Fine. Then you calculate the number of electrons. Okay. Then you calculate the number of neutrons. Then you calculate the number of neutrons. So you calculate this thing. Say. So first you calculate the number of protons, number of electrons, and number of neutrons. Okay. So the number of neutrons showed the number of neutrons showed the because I have not provided the mass number. Leave it. Just the number of protons and number of electrons. What is the number of protons in sodium ion? What is the number of protons?
12.
Now again, that very concept, right? That very fundamental concept, right? See, number of protons is always defined as the atomic number. Number of proton is always defined as the atomic number. So the atomic number of sodium is 11, means there are 11 protons out here. The atomic number of magnesium is 12, means there are 12 protons. Here there are 13. Here there are 7. Here there
Excuse
are
me,
8.
sir.
Here there are 9. Yes.
So sodium has a positive charge, so it has a more number of
Yes.
protons.
So what did I say in the earlier class? Whenever an atom is converted into an ion, remember the number of protons remains unchanged. Okay, only the number of electrons changes. So what is the significance of this positive charge? One positive charge signifies that there
Electron
is
loss.
one electron less.
Electron loss.
What is the significance of this +2 charge? It means 2 electron has
Electron
been
loss.
lost. That means 2 electron loss. What is the significance of 3 negative charges?
3 electron loss.
Now, 3 negative charges. 3 negative charges.
Oh, -3.
Minus 3 means it has gained 3 electrons.
3 more
It has
electrons.
gained 3 electrons. Okay. Now you give me the number of electrons. So what is the number of electrons out here? How many electrons are there?
10.
10. Okay. 10 electron. Here
10.
12 plus 2 charge means number of proton is 12. Number
10.
of electron in an atom
10.
is 12. 2 electrons are lost, so 10 electrons.
10.
Here
10.
10. Here
10.
10. Here
10.
10. Here
10.
10. So all the species contain 10 electrons each. All the species contain 10 electrons. So what are this type of species known as? You must have done in your school. What are the species known as which has the same number of electrons? Just tell me. So those species which has the same number of electrons, okay, are known as isoelectronic. They are known as isoelectronic species. They are known as isoelectronic species. So how do you define an isoelectronic species? those species which have the same number of electrons. Okay, so isoelectronic species are those which have the same number of electrons. Okay, now see how many electrons are there in a molecule of methane. Okay, so let us discuss this fact. Okay, let us discuss this thing. So got it? What do you mean by isoelectronic species? Those species which have the same number of electrons. Those species which have the same number of electrons. Fine. Okay. Is it okay? Is it understood?
Yes,
So
sir.
these are important. Isoelectronic species, these are important. Okay. Now, let me just continue with the discussion. Okay. Say CH4 methane and NH4 positive. It's known as ammonium ion. This is your methane. Now what you do is you calculate the number of protons and number of electrons in one methane molecule and in one ammonium ion. You calculate the number of electrons and you calculate the number of protons. So how many electrons are there in a molecule of methane? I think we have discussed this type of questions earlier as well. How many electrons are there in a molecule of methane? How many electrons? Now, yes, in order to calculate this, what is the atomic number of carbon? What is the atomic number of
12.
carbon?
12.
That's atomic mass. That's the atomic mass. What is the atomic number of carbon? How do we write down carbon?
Six.
Carbon 12, 6.
6.
Yes, hydrogen 1, 1. So what is the total number of electrons? What is the total number of electrons?
13.
In one carbon,
Oh,
there are 6
7.
electrons.
7.
How come 7? There are 4 hydrogen out here. One hydrogen contain
Oh.
1 electron. So 4 hydrogen contain 4 electrons.
10,
So
total
total
10.
electron will be 6
10.
plus 4 is equal to 10. So there are 10 electrons. So there are total 10 electrons. Okay. Now in case of ammonium ion, yes, nitrogen it's 14, 7. Again hydrogen it's 1.
11.
So total electron should be 7 plus 1 into 4. Obviously 7 plus 4. This should be 11. So what does this one positive charge signify? What does this one positive charge signify out here? That means one
less
electron
electron.
has been lost. 1 electron lost. That means 11 minus 1.
1.
So total how many electrons?
10.
Again, total there will be 10 electrons. Total there will be 10 electrons. So again, methane and ammonium ion, again there are here isoelectronic species. They are isoelectronic species. Now, if I just extend this question and ask you to calculate the number of neutrons, total neutrons, if I ask you to calculate the total neutrons, how would you do this? Total neutrons. If I ask you to calculate the number of neutrons, do it on your own, number of neutrons, and give me the answer. How will you calculate number of neutrons? Now see, total number of neutrons. So how many neutrons are there in carbon? 12 minus 6, it is 6. Yes, there are total number of neutron is atomic mass minus atomic number, 6. 1 minus 1 is hydrogen does not contain any neutron. So 6 plus 0, it is equal to 6. Fine. What about your ammonium ion? So nitrogen, how many neutrons? 14 minus 7 will be 7. Plus 1 minus 1 is 0. So there are 6 neutrons out here. There are 7 neutrons in ammonium ion. So we can easily calculate the number of neutrons. So we can easily calculate the number of neutrons in a given molecule. Okay, we can easily calculate the number of neutrons. Now see, this particular topic has, now let us give it a try. Okay, now let us give it a try. Let us solve this. Okay, let us solve this. Now see, where have you gone wrong? Just look, go through it. Okay. Now, number of neutrons. First, we'll calculate the number of neutrons in a carbon 12-6 atom. A carbon 12-6 atom. Okay. So number of neutrons in a carbon 12-6 atom. Okay. So yes, how many neutrons are there in one carbon 12-6 atom? There are 6 neutrons. There are 6 neutrons. In one atom, there are 6 neutrons. Now, what is the atomic number? What is the atomic mass of carbon given out here? Atomic mass of carbon is 12.
Excuse me,
Okay,
sir.
what is the unit? What is the unit? 12 gram.
Excuse me,
Okay,
sir.
yes.
Sir, but it is given for
Yes.
carbon
That's what.
14.
That's what.
For carbon 14.
Carbon 14. Sorry, carbon 14. Oh, I'm so sorry. Carbon 14. I'm so sorry. That means there are 8 neutrons out here. There are 8 neutrons. And atomic mass of carbon here it is given how much? 14. I'm so sorry. 14. It's okay now? It's okay.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
what is the concept of atomic mass then? Atomic mass means it is equal to 1 mole. Okay, and 1 mole of carbon ka mass hoga 14 gram, and 1 mole means, yes, 1 mole contains how many carbon atoms? Same concept. 1 mole
6.0 to 3
contains
into the power 23.
Avogadro number of carbon atoms. So yes, I can say 14 gram of carbon 14, it contains Avogadro number of carbon atoms. It contains Avogadro number of carbon atoms. But you are supposed to find out the number of neutrons in how many? 7 milligram. 7 milligram means how many gram? Milli means 7 into 10 to the power minus 3 gram. Yes? 7 divided by 1000 milligram. 7 into 10 to the power minus 3. 7 into 10 to the power minus 3. Okay. This much gram of carbon 14 contains how many atoms?
12.04 into the power
into
minus 23.
23 divided by 14 into, yes, 7 into 10 to the power minus 3. So this will be 7 2 times. Yes. Is it okay? So 2 3 is 6 to 3.01 into 10 to the power 20 carbon atom. Now we know 7 milligram contains this much of carbon atom. Now we know 7 milligram contains this much number of carbon atom. Okay, 3.01 into 10 to the power. Now we can easily solve it. So what is the mass of, so now we know the fact that 7 milligram contains this much number of carbon atom. 7 milligram contains this much
Then
number of
multiply it
carbon
by
atom.
8.
Okay, now let us see. Fine. So you're supposed to find out the number of neutrons in 7 milligram. Okay, now we know one carbon atom contains how many neutron? 8 neutron. Yes, it contains 8 neutron. One carbon 14 atom contains 8 neutron. So 7 milligram mein to this much number of carbon atoms are present. Yes, you're absolutely correct. So 3.01 into 10 to the power 20 carbon 14 contains how many neutron? 8 into 3.01 into 10 to the power 20 neutrons. Is it correct? Yes, it's absolutely correct. Okay, one carbon contains 8 neutron. We have already calculated this. And 7 milligram means this much number of carbon atom. This much number of carbon atom, that means 7 milligram contains this much number of carbon atom, and this much number of carbon atom will contain this many number of neutrons. So this is our first answer. Okay. So second answer, you are supposed to calculate the mass. So what is the mass of one neutron? What is the mass of one neutron? What is the mass of
1.675 into 10 to the power minus 27.
1.675 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. If I want to convert into gram, then I will multiply by 1000. This much gram. Okay. 10 to the power minus 24 gram. Okay. So yes, 1 kg equals to 1000 gram. I know 1 kg equals to 1000 gram. So this much kg is equal to multiplied by 1000. So how many neutrons are there now? How many neutrons are there? This many number of neutrons are there in 7 milligram. So here mass of 7 milligram contains this many number of neutrons. So mass of 8 into 3.01 into 10 to the power 20 neutron would be equal to 1.675 into 10 to the power minus 27 into 10 to the power 3. It's a long calculation. Into 8 into 3.01 into 10 to the power 20. Chalo, calculate. So here we have 3, 23. 23 minus 27 equals to 10 to the power minus 4. Then you will multiply this. Okay. This much. And yes, what is the answer? Answer, kaun sa unit mein aayega ye? We have expressed everything in gram.
Gram.
So our answer will be in gram. Our answer shall be in gram. Fine. Again, I told you we have done this question before as well. So these are the concepts which are related, which will be related to your mole concept. Okay, it will be related to your mole concept.
So we can take it as X protons.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so yes, let us suppose let the number of protons, let the number of protons be equal to X. So if this is a number of proton, what will be the number of neutron? What will be the number of neutron? This particular element, it contains 31.7% more neutron than proton. Number of proton was already X. Number of proton was X.
Plus
X plus
31.7.
it contains 31.7% more as compared to the number of protons. Okay, number of protons was X, it contains this much number of more. So this is the number of neutron. Now the mass number is given. What is the mass number? 81. What is the concept of mass number? What is mass number? What is mass number? Mass number is equal to the number of proton plus number of neutron. Mass number is defined as the number of proton plus number of neutron. Okay, so according to the question, since mass number is equal to 81, mass number is equal to number. So what is the concept of mass number? Mass number is equal to number of proton plus number of neutron. Okay, so number of proton is equal to X, number of neutron is equal to X plus 31.7% of X. This is the total sum of neutron and proton, and this should be equal to 81. This should be equal to 81. So solve for X. What is the value of X? Chalo, what is the value of X? What is the value of X?
So 231.7x.
उतना ही आएगा X is.
Oh, acha.
Okay, so let us not waste our time in simple calculation. Okay, we now know how to take LCM and all. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. So X, if I do, X is equal to 35. X equal to 35. So number of proton 35. So I know the atomic number is equal to 35. The atomic mass is equal to 81. So which is the element having atomic number 35? Any guesses or any idea? Which is the element having atomic number 35? Yes, the element chlorine. Chlorine का तुम्हारा atomic number है 35.5 है. Chlorine का it's 35.5. So approximately, sorry, not atomic number. Sorry, chlorine का the atomic mass है. Chlorine का the atomic number 17 है.
Sir, bromine.
Chlorine का 17, 35. Yes. Bromine, it is equal to 35. So how will you symbolize this element? The complete symbol of this element is bromine 35, 81. So this is our answer. This is our answer. So is this problem understood?
Yes,
It's easy, no? It's easy. Choose the easy method, right? So since यहाँ पर their comparison between neutron and electron is given, so yes, to make it more simple, I'll assume that let the number of electron B is equal to X. I'll assume this.
That only I said previously.
Okay, let the number of electron be X. Now, if you assume the number of electron to be X, what will be the number of proton, by the way?
37 minus X.
Uh-huh.
37
Yes,
minus
yes.
X plus 37 minus
Dekho.
X plus 11.1% of X.
This it contains 11.1% more neutron. I am talking about number of proton.
Oh, sorry.
Simple the concept. It contains 1 unit of negative charge. Means 1 electron ज़्यादा है, 1 electron ज़्यादा है. Proton से 1 unit of negative charge
X
means.
minus 1.
Yes, I want to hear that. I want to hear that. A number of proton, very good. It will be equal to X minus 1. 1 negative charge मतलब number of electron 1 ज़्यादा है number of proton से. Or we can say number of proton 1 कम है number of electron से. Got it? Yes. Now the concept, it seems the concept is clear, right? 1 unit of negative charge means neutral होने से proton और electron same होगा. 1 unit of negative charge means 1 electron ज़्यादा होगा. 1 positive charge means 1 electron कम होगा. Fine. Okay. So now what will be the number of neutrons? How will you find out the number of neutrons? Number of neutrons क्या होगा? बता दो. 11 point more neutrons than the number of electron. Number of electron X था. So इससे कितना ज़्यादा है? 11.1%
100.
more. बस. This is the number of neutrons. Now mass number पता ही है. Mass number पता है मतलब mass number is number of what? What will you assume mass number? I told you mass number
37.
हमेशा assume करेंगे number of proton plus number of neutron. So number of proton तुम्हारा x minus 1 है.
But
Number
mass
of
number is
proton.
given though.
So mass number is given. Okay, mass number is given. What is mass number according to your definition? Mass number is number of proton plus number of neutron. So number of proton plus number of neutron. This is the mass number. And what is the mass number equal to? This is equal to 37.
37.
Now this is equal to 37. Now solve the value of x. चलो x का value निकालो. X का value निकालो. X का value निकालो. So chalo, let us not waste time. Okay, so x equals to 18. X equals to 18. X equals to 18. Okay, number of electron 18. So therefore, what is the number of proton? Number of proton कितना है? Number of proton तो तुम्हारा x minus 1 है. That is equal to 18 minus 1 is equal to 17. That means number of proton 17 means atomic number is equal to 17. Atomic number equal to 17. What is the element having the atomic number 17? Which is the element having atomic number 17? अभी तो बोला हम लोग ने. Yes, तुम लोग ही बोल रहे थे. It's chlorine. It's chlorine. So yes, now you tell me what will be the complete symbol of the ion? What is the complete symbol of an ion?
Cl
Obviously,
minus
it's chlorine.
1 minus Cl minus.
Minus. Very good. So atomic number 17 है and mass number it's 30.
37.
कितना दिया?
7.
37. So if you don't write this minus charge, then it will be wrong, right? Because it's given in the question, it contains 1 unit of negative charge. Now I think it's understood clearly now. Or do you have
Yes, sir.
still is given? So I think you assume that let the number of electron be, let number of electron be is equal to x. So it contains 3 unit of positive charge means it contains 3 more proton. Yes, 3 unit of positive charge means, okay, proton carries positive charge. 3 positive charge means 3 proton more. So number of proton is equal to x plus 3. So again number of neutron, again same number of neutron. So what is the number of neutron? It contains then
X
electron.
plus.
Okay, electron x tha, so 30.4% more. So again mass number is 56. Mass number means number of proton plus number of neutron. This is equal to 56. So after calculating, you found out x to be 23, I suppose. Yes, x
Yes, sir.
equals to 23.
Yes, sir.
So but number of proton or atomic number means number of proton. X plus 3 is equal to 26 plus 3 is equal to 23. plus 3 is equals to 26. So the complete symbol is Fe. How will you write it? Fe 26, mass number is given 56. Is it correct or something is missing out here?
So mine
Sign
plus
plus
3.
3.
Plus 3, exactly, plus 3. So yes, okay, now it seems the concept is crystal clear. Now it seems the concept is Thomson model. Eh? So according to Thomson model, what did he propose? Yes, Thomson model.
So that the electrons are scattered in an atom.
So yes, he proposed that an atom is a sphere of positive charge. Eh? An atom can be considered to be a sphere of positive charge. An atom is considered to be a sphere of positive charge where electrons are distributed uniformly, just like the seeds are distributed in a watermelon like this. Okay, so Thomson model, very simple, basic model. Okay, he was the first person to propose a model for an atom. He's proposed that an atom can be considered to be a sphere of positive charge where electrons are uniformly distributed. Okay, so this was the first model of an atom. So after this model suffered a drawback, then Rutherford, he proposed his model. Right? But before studying Rutherford's model, we should study the experiment which led Rutherford, okay, to propose his model. What was the experiment name? Yes, what was the name of the experiment? We all know, very famous experiment. What was the name of the experiment? What was the experiment? Yes, you should be knowing it. You have done in your school. Rutherford's gold foil or Rutherford's scattering experiment. Eh? Okay, it's known as your Rutherford's
It's a Bell-Jar experiment.
scattering. Huh?
Bell-Jar
Yes,
experiment.
yes. कौन सा experiment?
Bell-Jar. The jar one.
No, it's not a jar one. Okay. So this chapter has been done in your school. I think it's done in your school, right? So I think you have just it's being erased from your mind. You'll come to know. So what was this experiment? Okay. So at that time when Rutherford gave his experiment, at that time radioactivity was discovered. Radioactivity was already discovered. And from the radioactive experiments, it was known that some elements, they emitted alpha particle, and it was also known that alpha particles are positively charged. Alpha particles are positively charged. Okay, alpha particles are positively charged. Okay. So what did Rutherford do? He took a source of alpha particle. He took a source of alpha rays. So here there is a radioactive element. And okay, so from here alpha particles were emitted, and it was known that these alpha rays, they are positively charged. They bear a positive charge. It was known at that time. Okay. Now these alpha rays were made to pass through a very thin foil of metals such as gold and platinum. So we know this metal gold, it has a unique property that it can be beaten into very thin sheets. Say how thin? 0.00001 centimeter without breaking off. Very thin, thinner than a paper. Okay, so it was made to pass through this gold foil. It was made to pass through this gold foil. It was made to pass through the gold foil. Okay, and yes, a screen was placed out here. A screen was placed, and this screen was coated with zinc sulfide. What is the role of zinc sulfide? I think I have discussed this previously. What is this zinc sulfide? What it does? It was coated with zinc sulfide, fluorescent substance. It acts as a fluorescent substance. It acts as a fluorescent substance. Okay. So what was the observation now? What was the observation? The observation was, so the alpha particles were passed out here, the alpha particles were plus. Okay, now what would you expect now? What would you expect? You are passing rays. You are passing rays through, say, gold foil like this. You are passing some rays. What would you expect? What is the expectation? You are passing your rays through this paper. So we expect that these rays will just rebound like this. So it will just rebound. Yes, it's an opaque thing. We know in a solid, the atoms are tightly packed. Since the atoms are tightly packed, okay, we feel that these rays cannot pass through this gold foil. Okay, but to our surprise, okay, a majority of alpha rays passed straight away. It passed straight away. It passed straight away like this. Okay, and a few suffered small deflection like this. A few suffered small deflection. Few were deflected by small angle, and a very few alpha particles were rebounded as expected. They retraced their path like this, right? They returned back like this. So what were the observations now? What were the observations now? What were the observations from this gold foil? The observations was about 99.9% of alpha rays, about 99.9% of alpha rays, okay, were undeflected or passed undeflected. It passed undeflected. So majority, 99.9% means a majority of alpha rays just passed through the gold foil, okay, as if nothing was there in its path. Okay, very few alpha particles suffered small deflection. So very few alpha rays suffered small deflection. Okay, and number 3, so these are the observations from the experiment. And number 3, so a very few, again a very few, kitna very few, say 1 in 20,000. Okay, 1 in 20,000. What did they do? They suffered, okay, they suffered major deflection. Okay, they suffered a greater deflection. So yes, in science, what do? We first carry out the experiment. From the experiment, what is the observation? We note down the observation, and from the observation, we give the inference. Okay, we give the inference. So these were the observation. So what were the inferences that Rutherford gave now? What were the inferences? Okay, inference means from the observation, what is the conclusion? So most of the alpha rays passed undeflected, means what is the inference? What will be your conclusion now? What will be your conclusion? 99.9% of alpha rays just passed undeflected. What is the conclusion? If you were Rutherford, what is the conclusion you would give? Sub rays pass or as if nothing was there. So number one inference is that most of the space, okay, number one inference can be given as most of the space of an atom is empty. Is it okay? Because देखो ना क्या हो रहा है, 99.9% of alpha ray just pass straight through. That means if there was something blocking its path, then it would have suffered deflection, but it is just passing through, means most of the space of an atom is empty. Most of a space of an atom is empty. Is it clear, this inference? Why? Because yes.
So what is that inference?
Inference means conclusion. Okay, so I'm just going to replace this. So देखो practical में inference लिखोगे. Inference
Yes,
means
sir.
conclusion. Conclusion which we arrive from the observation. So number one observation was 99.9% of alpha rays passed through the gold foil, means most of the space of an atom is empty. That is why majority of alpha rays just pass through it. Now, second, a very few alpha rays suffered small deflection, okay, and a very few suffered greater deflection. Now you just answer me one thing. So I told you, what are these rays? What are these rays? These rays are which rays? These rays are alpha rays.
Alpha
Okay.
rays.
And alpha rays, they are what? Positively charged. So when they suffer deflection? You tell me. Alpha rays are stream of positively charged particle. Right? Alpha
In
rays are
a,
stream of positively charged particles. So when do they suffer deflection?
in a magnetic field.
Okay, so forget about magnetic field. Let us not go into that detail. Just give me the basic idea.
Negative,
When
negative.
are positive charges deflected?
So when there
Light
is a
charges, light charges repel. So these alpha rays will suffer deflection when it strikes something positively charged in an atom. When it strikes something positively charged in an atom. And which part of an atom is positively charged? Which part of an atom is positively charged? Proton. Yes, no need
protons.
to think, proton. So obviously these alpha rays will be deflected when it strikes the proton, when it strikes the positive charge. Now see, just listen to this discussion. If the positive charge of an atom was concentrated in a very large region, मान लो, say as we assume that the entire positive charge of an atom is concentrated in a very big region, it's concentrated in a very large space, then what would be your observation then? What would be your observation then? If the positive charge of an atom is concentrated in a large area, what would be your observation? Our observation would be most of the alpha rays will be deflected like this. Is it so?
Yes,
ऐसा
sir.
होना चाहिए ना? ऐसा होना चाहिए था. अगर एटम का पॉजिटिव चार्ज बड़ा जगह ऑक्युपाई करेगा तो मोस्ट ऑफ द मेजॉरिटी ऑफ अल्फा रेज विल बी डिफ्लेक्टेड. बट यहाँ तो उल्टा हो रहा है सिचुएशन. So yes, what is the conclusion then? So this means that the positive charge is concentrated within a very small region. Like I said, the positive charge of an atom is concentrated in a very small region, so that majority of alpha rays are just passing undeflected like this. Majority of alpha rays are passing undeflected. Since the positive charge is concentrated in a very small region, only few alpha particles are able to strike it, and they are deflected like this. And are deflected like this. The rest will just pass straight through like this. They will just pass straight. So from their observation, yes, this is correct, this is incorrect. Because if the positive charge is concentrated in a very big region, then ulta hona chahiye. Most of the alpha rays would suffer deflection. So since very few alpha rays suffer deflection, the positive charge is concentrated in a very small region. So yes, very okay. So the positive charge, the whole positive charge of an atom, the whole positive, we can come to the conclusion that the whole positive charge of an atom, okay, is concentrated, okay, in a very small region, in a very small region, and this region is, now we know this region is known as a nucleus. We know it is known as the nucleus. Okay, so from Rutherford's experiment, yes, it was a path-breaking experiment. This was the first realistic approach towards the model of an atom. Right? So Rutherford, by conducting this simple experiment, okay, he came to this conclusion that most of the space of an atom is empty. Fine, okay, and the most of the positive charge is concentrated in a very small region. Okay, it is concentrated in a very small region. So this was the experiment of Rutherford. Is it understood experiment? You have to
Yes,
study
sir.
in this way. It's just like a story. Eh? Don't memorize everything. Don't cramp up your brain. Okay. So you have to just study like a story. Kya tha? Story. What was the story? What was the experiment? Few facts to be remembered like this. Few facts to be remembered. You link the experiment to the observation. You link the observation to the conclusion. Okay. So it should be studied in this way. Now, चलो ये experiment किया. Very good. After Thomson, Rutherford ने experiment किया. So now, based on this experiment, what did Rutherford propose? Rutherford proposed his model of an atom. Rutherford proposed his model of an atom, and we have been studying Rutherford's model of an atom in our junior classes. Yes, anyone? What was Rutherford's model of an atom then? How did he propose his model then? It's you must have studied in your junior classes. Rutherford's model is just equivalent to solar system, ना? कहीं पर पढ़ा था? It's just like a solar system. Solar system में क्या होगा? The sun is present at the center, and uh, uh, all the planets revolve around it. Okay. So Rutherford's model. Rutherford's he proposed his model. Rutherford's model. Rutherford's model. Okay. So I'm not going to write it down. So now we know that the positive charge is concentrated within a very small region, and this positively charged part is called the nucleus, and this nucleus contains most of the mass of an element. Majority of mass of an element is present within this nucleus. So there is a nucleus, and around the nucleus there are circular orbits like this. There are circular orbits like this, and in these circular orbits, what revolves around the nucleus? Here, negatively charged electrons, they revolve around the nucleus like this. Fine? And this nucleus, it contains what? It contains, we know now, it contains protons and it contains neutrons. And these are known as here electrons, which revolve around the nucleus. So this was the Rutherford's model of an atom. Now tell me one thing, electrons are negatively charged, proton is positively charged. So if the negatively charged electron revolves around the nucleus, it will be attracted towards the nucleus all the time. All these electrons are going to collide with the nucleus. So how did Rutherford explain the stability of his atom? How did he explain the stability of his atom then? Because according to us, simple, as a layman, we'll say that electrons are negatively charged, protons are positively charged. So your nucleus will pull all the electrons towards itself. Now you should have studied in your physics that when an element is in circular motion like this, there are two forces. One force acting outwards from the center is known as a centrifugal force.
Fugal.
One acting towards the center is known as a centripetal force. So here also it is revolving in circular orbits. So यहाँ पर क्या होगा? The centrifugal, the electrostatic force of attraction, between what? Between what? The electrostatic force of attraction
Nucleus
between
and electrons.
Very good, very good. Between nucleus and electron is balanced by a centrifugal force. Okay, this is how we explain the stability of his atom. So this Rutherford's model, okay, it existed for many years, but now a theory was proposed which is known as Maxwell's electromagnetic theory. Okay, at this time there was another scientist named as Maxwell. So according to Maxwell's electromagnetic theory, according to this theory, a charged particle in motion emits radiation. According to this theory, Maxwell's electromagnetic theory, a charged particle in motion emits radiation. So is this applicable to electron? Is this applicable to electron? This was the outcoming of Maxwell's electromagnetic theory. So is this applicable to electron? Yes, electrons are charged and it's in motion as well. So according to this theory, when an electron revolves around the nucleus, it will emit radiation, it will emit energy. Radiation means energy. Now, as the electron emits radiation, what will happen to the energy of the electron then? What will happen to the, it will continuously emit energy. What will happen to the energy of the electron?
Decrease.
Decrease. As the energy of the electron decreases, it will be attracted more and more towards the nucleus like this. Energy decrease हो रहा है, attract हो रहा है nucleus की तरफ. So it will follow a spiral path. It will follow a spiral path and it will finally collide with the nucleus. So Rutherford's model failed to explain the stability of an atom. It failed to explain the stability of an atom because according to Maxwell's theory, a charged particle such as electron continuously emits radiation. So the electron should continuously lose energy. It will be attracted towards the nucleus all the time. It will follow a spiral path and ultimately collide with the nucleus. So it failed to explain the stability of an atom. Number one. Number two, okay, it could not explain other phenomena such as your hydrogen spectrum, which we are going to study. It could not explain the occurrence of hydrogen spectrum. It could not explain the stability. It could not explain the hydrogen spectrum and all. So these were some of the drawbacks of Rutherford's model. Okay, but nonetheless, he was the first person to again give us a realistic picture of an atom. Now after Rutherford's model, कौन सा model आया existence में? Bohr's model. So don't miss out the next class. Bohr's model is going to be really important. From there we'll be deriving many things. Okay. So yes, let us end our discussion here
Yes, sir.
for this class. Okay. So please don't miss out the next class, right? Okay. Otherwise, देखो recording तो कहीं पर भी मिलेगा recording.